The GameCube has been considered a closed chapter for the last 25 years until one indie dev decided to write a Minecraft engine for it, and all I'm running it on is my good old vanilla GameCube, an action replay disc, and that weird SD card adapter thing. So let's get into it. Real quick, if you're new here, hey, I'm Coulter. On this channel we cover console mods, retro tech, weird PC builds, and generally janky tech projects. So if that sounds like you, be sure to subscribe down below so you don't miss future videos. Okay, so I saw this on Twitter, of course, just going about my day, and a dev going by Mies, or actually a flock of Mies, which I love that, has been quietly cooking on this thing called the Meese Engine for like 2 years, and the latest in-dev build, version 0.1 GCN, GameCube, just dropped as a free download from their website, and it's just a game.dol file that you can pop onto your modded GameCube or pseudo-modded GameCube like I have, we'll get to that in a second, that you can just run today. So obviously I had to try this on my actual GameCube hardware because Minecraft on the GameCube just sounds amazing, and of course trying this stuff out is way more fun when you're on the actual vanilla hardware to put to the test how technically impressive this is on hardware from, I guess, the Bush administration. But before we boot it up, quick background, because the story is honestly the coolest part about this thing. So the Meese Engine is a fully custom built Voxel engine, meaning Mies didn't just port Minecraft. He couldn't do that because Mojang's source isn't public. Instead, he wrote his own engine from scratch in C, targeting old console hardware specifically. The targets, in order, GameCube, Wii, Dreamcast, and PC. And yes, the Dreamcast is included in that list with 16 glorious megabytes of RAM, and it runs at 30 FPS in that thing, which is honestly insane. Like, if you want to see the Dreamcast version of this video, let me know in the comments. But the GameCube version runs at a locked 60 FPS with a 13 chunk render distance, which, if that number's not impressive to you yet, for context, a docked Switch 1 can only run actual Minecraft at a render distance of 12 chunks. So this thing is actually beating a docked official Minecraft release on 2017 hardware, and the GameCube is 2001 hardware. And if you're like me and you're one of the OG lovers of Minecraft and you were playing it on your crappy Dell laptop with 512 megs of RAM, you know darn well the only way you got that thing to run relatively okay is to crank down the render distance. So the farther out you can render, the more technically impressive your hardware, or in this case, the engine creating the voxel world you're in. And because the thing can pull off a 13 chunk render distance, it's also beating the official PS3 port, Wii U port, and 360 versions of Minecraft, which all cap at 10 chunks. It's only finally beaten by the PS4 and Xbox One versions that beat it at 18 chunks, which is fair enough, they're pretty beefy consoles, but the fact that the GameCube is in the same conversation as those consoles, being hardware from 2001, is honestly absurd. The engine itself is built on libOGC2 and the DevKit PPC toolchain, which is the standard homebrew SDK for GameCube and Wii development. So of course, shout out to Extrems for the libOGC toolchain, and that's a name you'll see pop up a lot if you hang out in the GameCube homebrew scene. So what is Mies trying to do here? Well, goal-wise, it's trying to target a subset of Minecraft Beta 1.7.3, which is the version a lot of us older fans consider the peak of Minecraft. That's pre-survival, pre-hunger bar, just pure mining and building. And from there, he wants to diverge it into his own thing. But an important note, the Meese engine is not open source, and the dev has been very open about that. He said the costs outweigh the benefits in open sourcing it, and he doesn't want companies lifting his work without contributing back, and some smaller pieces might go open source eventually, but the engine itself is staying closed source for now, which is fair, because if you plan to do something with it that might not be compatible with open source isn't always the best thing for a project. Super fair. Okay, so it runs really well, but how did he actually do it? Like, this isn't just a clone, like this is a technical feat of engineering. The GameCube only has 24 megabytes of RAM and a 485 megahertz PowerPC CPU. That's it. That's the whole performance budget. And Mies crammed 25 million blocks into that 24 megabytes through what he describes as about a month of extensive memory optimization. The translation of that is that a Minecraft chunk is normally pretty big in memory, and he basically had to invent his own compression scheme to make chunks fit in a console that has less RAM than your phone's lock screen wallpaper. Other technical wins include a custom heap allocator that's reportedly 300% faster on average than what came before, which mostly mattered for the Dreamcast version, but the same code runs on the GameCube. Wins across the board. Also a multi-regional heap structure, the foundation for the DRAM bank-aware memory allocation, which is nerd speak for he's manually telling the console which RAM chips to put the data in for speed's sake. Like, the lower level you go, the more you can move around and have control, and the more efficiency you can gain. but I know from personal experience, the lower level you go, the more pain you're asking to personally take on. So kudos, Mr. Meese. It's also got real-time chunk meshing and lighting, because if you've ever tried to write a voxel engine, like I did in a vibe coding video back here, the meshing step is where most projects struggle and get abandoned. Honestly, just researching this video was a rabbit hole I didn't expect, and it was just a really fun time. And if you like videos like this where we dig into the actual nerd details of how stuff like this works, then maybe subscribe down below so I know you like content like this, and it generally helps the channel out, so I much appreciate it. Okay, here's what we came for though. Let's get this running on a real GameCube and see what it's about. My setup is intentionally the cheapest, no solder, no mod chip path, and if you watch my previous video from way back on the channel, this is that same rig, which I'll recap real quick here and then we'll move on. But it's a good old dual 101 GameCube, regular Indigo unit, with its only unique characteristic being that it does have the serial port 2 underneath, an action replay disc, which I had to track down on Marketplace because they're pretty rare, because it's a disc that Nintendo did not license because it lets you boot homebrew off of an SD card, or of course load cheats and stuff. This is a very key ingredient in letting us get all this done without having to hard mod the console at all. And then we need our Swiss memory card setup, which in my case is an SD to GameCube memory card adapter, and then a teeny tiny super ancient 1 gig micro SD card I had to buy special on AliExpress because it has to be the same memory speeds and all that as the original GameCube memory chips. And then that has the Swiss files on it. And then lastly, the SD to SB2 adapter, which plugs into the serial port 2 on the bottom, lets me plug in a micro SD card, and that's where I can put all my bigger files such as homebrew and game backups and all that good stuff. I'll link that video in the description or something if you want to see how that whole setup works, as it's pretty cool, and like I said, it didn't require any soldering, just required some eBay or Marketplace magic. But today we're focused on the Meese engine, and so first thing to do is head over to the Mies GitHub page and grab the latest release. As of this filming, that's 0.1. Extract that zip and you'll get a game.dol file. That's it, that's the whole game. So on your SD card, in my case the one that goes into my slot at the bottom of the GameCube, you can toss it wherever. I just put it in my games homebrew Mies folder, but Swiss doesn't care because it lets you browse the file structure anyway. And for bonus points if you want, it also comes with a texture pack patcher.exe in the zip file, which you can use if you want to patch in the official Minecraft textures, because Mies can't legally distribute the Mojang textures out of the box. Instead, it ships with the LibreProg texture pack by Pixelbrush, which is a free Minecraft style alternative that I think looks pretty great and honestly kind of hard to tell the difference. But if you want the real Mojang textures, you can bring your own copy of Minecraft assets and run the patcher. And as tempted as I was to do that, since I bought Minecraft about 16 years ago, whoa, that makes me feel old, I figured I'd just experience the Pixelbrush textures as is, and they did not disappoint. But now comes the moment of truth. Pop the action replay disc in, hit power, action replay loads, finds the hacked Swiss file on the memory card in slot B, auto boots to Swiss, Swiss sees the SD to SP2, browse into homebrew Mies and select the game.dol file, press A, and there it is. Cube game on GameCube. You are plopped into a fully generated Minecraft world just like that. No title screen or anything to get in your way, you're just in it, which is sick. If you were a subscriber to the Minecraft hype back in the day like I was, you'll just feel right at home as you get to look around and just take in the sights of this newly generated world around you, which always just gave me the feels, and I love it. And the controls are very comfortable. You know, it's just place block, break block. It has the, you know, it takes a bit of time to break a block, kind of like it does in survival. You can use the D-pad to scroll between the available blocks. You can look around with the C-stick. You can jump around with A. And before I knew it, it was nighttime in Minecraft, and I was getting worried for the mobs coming out. I was like, oh no, I don't have like a door, or I'm not concealed properly. And then I remembered that this is basically creative mode, and there are no mobs. And so I just kind of hung around at nighttime, although it was very dark because I don't think there was any moonlight. By the time my GameCube went through the AV converter to HDMI to my little TV, it was looking a little bit dark, and so I just kind of like stood there during nighttime. And then it was daytime again, but it's super chill. You can hit pause and you can see the control mapping. And indeed, if you're up on a high spot and you look out, you can see super far out, flexing that 13 chunk render distance. And so as far as what this build can do right now in the 0.1, it of course has the open world voxel terrain with infinite world size generated from a seed, block placing and breaking like we said, environment decorations like mushrooms and sugarcane, which you'll see as you start to explore. There's water and all that good stuff, and you can swim in the water. I believe there's background music playing, but I had my volume pretty low, so couldn't verify that. But what you should not expect, like I said, are mobs or fighting or crafting or multiplayer, which apparently multiplayer is on the roadmap, so that's cool. Survival mode systems like hunger and progress and all that, or even crouching to safely build your cliffside Minecraft home out of dirt blocks, because I definitely was like, and felt, but you know, no fall damage, so that's cool. Even though there is a heart spark, but no fall damage, so I guess that's just kind of a TBD. But yes, this is of course basically a tech demo with the bones of a real game and a future really cool engine. So treat it like that and you'll have fun with this tech demo, which if you're having fun with the tech demo, that's a good sign that there's good things ahead for this engine. And if you want to know where the Meese Engine is headed, I'd recommend checking out the website and their Discord community so you can keep up to date on everything they have going on, because I'm sure there's cool stuff ahead for this project. But something kept hitting me while I was playing this thing, in that the GameCube launched in 2001 and the Dreamcast in 1998. And in 2026, one developer with a dev toolchain and a lot of patience is making a voxel engine that holds its own against official Minecraft ports on consoles 2 or even 3 generations newer than the GameCube. It's just an excellent reminder that the hardware in your closet is almost always more than you think, but really only if someone bothers to still tinker with it and make amazing software for it. It's also a cool reminder that GameCube homebrew is still totally a thing, and Swiss keeps getting better, and the community is active, and there are new games being made for the GameCube all the time that are just coming up on indie sites and probably itch.io kind of thing. So don't count out the GameCube, I guess, especially when we're not sure when exactly the GameCube is going to arrive. Maybe this year? Let me know in the comments what other GameCube homebrew you've been running lately and what I should try out. I'd bet money there are some really cool products for the GameCube that I just haven't heard of and would love to try, so definitely let me know and I would happily share with the class. And if you want me to do a deeper dive on the Meese Engine as it evolves and has other platforms and features over time, go ahead and drop a controller emoji in the comments. Or if you want me to try to get this running on the Dreamcast or Wii or something, then go ahead and drop that good old moose emoji in the comments and I'll happily explore those too. We'll have to buy a Dreamcast, so I guess your comment may require me to spend money, so you have a lot of power right now. And if you like this video, probably like the one where I showcase this whole GameCube no mod setup that I have running here. So I'll see you guys over in that video for a very older Coulter Peterson video experience. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.